It's gonna really fatigue your chest muscle a lot faster. Oh my God. And it's gonna make these weights feel much heavier than they really are. Hi guys, I'm Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic. Today I want to talk to you about how to build a big chest at home. All right, so as I'm sure you know, we're pretty limited in the amount of equipment that we have at home. All right, so it's pretty much dumbbells and resistance bands. All right, now some of you guys are really lucky and you've done a great job of building a really badass gym in your garage with lots of really cool equipment, but it's typically pretty expensive and most guys don't have that luxury. All right. So if you don't have a gym membership or you just don't want to go to the gym, you need to find some really effective workouts. And when I say workouts today, we're really just going to talk about specific exercises, all right, that you can use to build a really big, impressive chest. Because guys, when it comes to different muscle groups, everybody's kind of got their favorite. But if you have a big chest, you can have little skinny arms, little skinny shoulders, and still look really impressive, all right? Whether you're in a tank top or just a regular t-shirt, a big chest is always gonna look impressive and actually show. All right, before we get to those three exercises, I just wanna remind you that we have a phenomenal free resource. Our Facebook group is the best fitness program on all of Facebook, all right? We've got over 12,000 members. Click the link below this video. You can ask to be, admitted into the group, and I'm the administrator. So I'm the guy on there every single day answering everybody's questions. And it's guys just like you. We don't have a bunch of ripped 20 and 30-year-olds in there. So it's guys all over the world that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, all right, that are looking to lose fat and build muscle, get healthy, take control of their lives, increase their testosterone levels, just feel more energetic, the whole 9 yards. And guys, it is a wonderful group of men who are there to help each other. So it's not just me answering your questions. It's everybody else patting you on the back, giving you advice, giving you really cool tips. And then also, it's just nice being around other people that have the same issues as you, because you can see their success. You can see their progress pictures, a lot of them post. And then that will motivate you because you know if they can do it, you can do it. Simple as that, guys. So it's free. Even if you hate Facebook like I do, you need to join and take advantage of it. All right, so the first exercise, guys, you're gonna need some dumbbells. Now, I have a bench here, which is really inexpensive, and I highly recommend that you guys go on and invest in a bench. But even if you don't have a bench, you can still do this exercise down on the floor, and I recommend you take some cushions off your couch, all right, and then put the cushions behind your back, because that will elevate your back off the ground a few inches, and that means you'll have a little bit more range of motion, all right, when you're going through this exercise. Because guys, range of motion is really important. So if you're only doing little partial reps, all right, yes, you'll get a pump, but you won't get nearly the benefit out of any exercise if you're only doing partial range of motion. So when you have a bench like this, man, you can go as deep, all right, as your shoulder joints will allow you. So my shoulders are still in good shape. And so I have a really good range of motion, all right? So I want to show you a couple different ways to do this. Now, these dumbbell presses are my favorite exercise when I'm doing them at the gym, all right? So they're just as effective at home, right? And then a lot of you guys, because your chest is a pretty strong muscle group, you won't have heavy enough dumbbells at home to really push yourself to failure, okay? It'll just be too light. So I want to give you a little twist on how to make these dumbbells actually feel heavier than they are so that you can get just as much out of it. So here's the first way you can do these dumbbell presses, okay? We can do them just the old traditional simultaneous way here, all right, two at a time. And then guys, kind of notice when I'm going down at the bottom, all right, my elbows are below my back. They've gone deeper than my back. And if I was doing this on the ground without a cushion, my elbows would hit the ground about right here, and that would limit my range of motion, all right? But when I'm on a bench, I can go deeper and then all the way up. Now notice where I stop at the top, okay? When I'm right here, the weight from these dumbbells is still effectively on my chest muscles. If I go to the top like this, now the weight it's going straight down through my elbows, through my shoulder joints, and my joints are really supporting the weight. So now there's very little stress on my pecs. So if I come out here and see how my elbows are a little bit bent at the very top, I can still feel a lot of weight on my chest, okay? So that's how you do the form. Now, for you guys, if you don't have enough weight, try doing alternating so you can do one arm at a time. All right, and because your off arm is still having to support that dumbbell, even though it's not going down and up, it's gonna really fatigue your chest muscle a lot faster. Oh my God. And it's gonna make these weights feel much heavier than they really are. Exercise number 2 is a body weight only exercise. So I didn't mention at the top of this video, but basically these 3 exercises use either dumbbells or bands or your body weight. Getting kind of creative here, all right? So there's a lot of different things you can do, but I picked these 3 exercises in this video today because I think, especially if you're limited on time, these are probably 3 of my favorite exercises when it comes to really tearing down those muscle fibers, getting a great pump in your chest, and of course that's what it's all about. So number 2, body weight only push-ups. Now guys, there's tons of different types of push-ups. So traditional push-up, all right? My hands are basically shoulder width, maybe slightly wider, okay? Fingers are pointing straight, all right? And here I go. I mean, it's just straight up and down. Now guys, don't get your elbows out here. I don't want you flaring your arms out, okay? So when you go down, your elbows are gonna make roughly a 45-degree angle with your torso, all right? So meaning you're gonna feel like your elbows are tucked like this, but still, this is about 45-degree angle. If I get them out here, that's much wider than 45. So what I'm trying to do is show you the form that will put the most stress on your chest. Because if you don't do them right, you'll put a lot of stress on your shoulder joints, okay? And you'll end up using your delts more than you want to lift your body up and down. So traditional normal push-ups with hands kind of shoulder width is a great way to do it. But if you want to put even more stress on your chest, let me show you how to do a wide push-up. Now guys, this is more difficult. So if you're a beginner, you're probably not going to be able to do this, all right? But when you move your hands further out, okay, it means we're going to have to use our chest to lift our weight up and down with very little help from our triceps. And the closer you put your hands when you're doing a push-up, the more you activate your triceps, okay? So your triceps start taking more of the weight and you deload your chest, all right, as you move your hands closer. So keep that in mind when you guys are trying to build a chest workout program, all right? If you're doing a bunch of narrow, grip push-ups, you're really gonna get a big pump in your triceps and your shoulders, but you're not gonna get much in the way of chest activation. So move those hands further out, okay? And then it's the same idea as a traditional, standard push-up. But because my arms are real wide, I'm really having to use just my chest and a little bit of my shoulder muscle and very little tricep when we're doing that way. So, the thing I like to think about when I'm creating workout programs for people is variety. And when I'm doing my own workouts, okay, if I'm at the gym doing chest, I'm really trying to do lots of different exercises. Even though they're all targeting my chest, they're hitting our muscles from lots of different angles. And what that means is we're forcing different muscle fibers to get engaged, all right? So if you just do the same exercise for 20 sets, all right, you'll get really good at that exercise. But your body is super smart and it will learn to become efficient and only activate the minimum amount of muscle fibers needed, all right, for you to do that one exercise. But when you start mixing it up and doing different exercises, it confuses your body. So man, it really has to recruit far more muscle fibers. All right, so exercise number 3 are flies. So we can do flies with dumbbells, especially if you have a bench, but I really like to do them with bands. Now the thing about bands is we're replicating the cable crossover machine at a gym. And for you guys that don't go to the gym, don't know what I'm talking about, it's a really big machine. And it's got weight stacks that are about 8 feet apart. And it's all hooked together with cables and pulleys, and it's got handles. And it's a phenomenal piece of equipment, but it's super expensive. It's several $1,000s. So what I'm doing is the poor man's version of replicating it here at home. But this is the caveat in today's video. I'm using 2 complete sets of bands for this particular exercise. You don't have to, all right? But you notice how I have an anchor here and another anchor here. And I got a black band here, doubled up, going to the same handle. So that's effectively using 2 black bands, all right? And since it has to be balanced, I gotta have another black band over here and a handle, right? So one set will only come with 1 black band. All right, and there's no way to use a black band and then like a red band over here, you'll be, you know, going cattywampus on us. So bands are only about $25 per set. So it's just super cheap way to invest an extra 25 bucks, and it will open up more possibilities. All right, so today's exercise with these banded flies, I'm using 2 sets and I'm anchoring 2 different locations. And let me show you why. We're just gonna get into a little bit of physics here, guys, all right? So this is very similar to the geometry that you would encounter at a gym with those cable crossover machines that I just mentioned that are cost about $3,000 or $4,000. All right, see how we're spread apart here with these anchors? All right, and when I do my flies, it's a very similar feeling to when I'm doing this at the gym with the $3,000 cable crossover machine. But right now I got all of $50 invested in 2 complete sets of bands. All right, so why am I doing these with 2 anchor points separated by, I don't know, that's about 5 or 6 feet? Because you could do it with 1 set of bands and you just put the anchor in 1 location, okay? Let me show you the physics, okay? So, see how the band is pulling my hand out this way? It's not trying to pull my arm straight back behind me, okay? So when I'm resisting the tension here, all right, and I'm just gonna do 1 arm at a time so I can use my other hand. So when I'm trying to bring it together, the resistance is pulling my hand outward and back, all right? So it's always pulling me back. So even at this point, when I've gone through my full range of motion, I still have a lot of tension on my chest right now because of the angle of the band. It's still trying to pull my hand outward and back, all right? If I was doing this with just 1 set of bands, like most people do, I'd have an anchor point directly behind me, okay? And so when the anchor's directly behind you, you're gonna feel some resistance here. And then once you get to here, you're gonna feel very little resistance because the bands, the resistance is pulling straight back behind you. And now your elbow joint and your shoulder joint are carrying the resistance and not your pec, okay? Because it's pushing straight back like this. Very similar to when I was laying on a bench and I brought the dumbbells together at the top, all right? Gravity is pulling straight down and I'm using my elbows and my shoulder. Well, instead of gravity, we got the resistance of that rubber band, okay? But it's pulling straight back this way. It's not trying to pull my arms apart. Hence, I don't get nearly the muscle engagement that I get when I have 2 different anchor points. Now guys, this is kind of a simple setup here. It was really easy. Some of you guys are not gonna have this option. So you can either set up a gym in your garage if you have a garage, and you can just buy 2 different anchors and screw them into wooden studs in the wall and space them about 8 feet apart, okay? That's a simple way to do it. Some of you guys, you know, if your wife doesn't get mad at you, you can do the same setup in the house. and you can get these big eye-bolt wood screws that'll screw into studs in your walls. And you may have a guest bedroom or something like that where she's not going to kill you because you have two big old giant lag screws in the wall, but it is way better when you're doing these chest flies to do it this way versus just a single anchor point with just a single band set. All right, I hope I did not bore everybody with my little physics lesson there, because if you can pull that off with the two anchor points, all right, you're gonna radically feel a big difference in your chest pump and the amount of stress that you can put on those pec muscles when you're doing flies. And guys, I work out at the gym a lot, and I spend a lot of time on chest day on that cable crossover machine. I do lots of flies, okay? Now, of course, they also have other machines that are just specifically made to do flies on. So I do a lot of pressing movements at the gym, but I also do lots of fly movements, and that's harder to do at home. But if you get creative, all right, you can still pull it off, and you can still build some big pecs. But it ain't gonna happen overnight, which means you gotta stick with it and never give up on yourself.